Is it true that the Earth postponed her ascension before?
It's happening right now. It never happened before, but it's happening right now, so that people have more time to settle their situations.
What was the date that she had set originally?
The original plan was the year 2000, or 1999.
Was Francis Bacon really Saint Germain before he ascended?
Yes.
Is it really him who wrote the Shakespeare stories?
Yes.
To what extent are the lower degrees Freemasons cooperating with the Cabal plans?
Almost zero. The real Cabal structure in Freemasonry begins with the 32nd or 33rd degree, not before. So people, until that degree, have no idea about the Illuminati network, and they are not actively cooperating with it.
Okay, so they are not told about the depopulation plans and any of that?
No.
Do they participate unknowingly?
Actually, everybody participate unknowingly, simply by supporting the Cabal agenda one way or the other, so it's not limited to Freemasons. It's happening everywhere. Actually, every human being has, in their lives, supported the Cabal agenda one way or the other. Not directly, but as a side effect of their lifestyles.
Okay, so the Freemasons do good things sometimes?
Oh yes, many times, especially lower degrees, they do many good things. Not always, but many times, yes.
Okay, so the teachings that they are taught are not always distorted?
Well, it's just another organization, like many similar organizations. They have some occult and spiritual knowledge to a certain degree, and they are of course infiltrated, but below the 32nd degree they are not part of the Cabal.
Okay, are angels a different species than humans?
Actually, some beings that are in human bodies are angels. We are angels that came from other star systems. But human evolution as it is understood on this planet is a different course of evolution from the angelic evolution.
Okay, are all skin colors present on this planet native to this planet?
Actually, humanity and the human DNA have been influenced by so many races that you cannot define any beings on this planet as being the locals of this planet. It's all a mixture of different DNA, and different evolution times.
Okay, what happened with the dinosaurs?
They went extinct because of the activity of the galactic central sun, which triggered some violent cosmic weather in this solar system, which affected also this planet.
Okay, and was it a natural creation?
Yes.
And were there other type of beings cohabiting with them, like humans?
Humans were not present at this time, but there were other humanoid beings visiting from other star systems that were present on the planet, but not in large numbers.
Are the four elements, air, water, fire and earth, common to all 7 planes of existence in the whole universe?
Yes.
Is there more than 7 colors?
There is actually an infinite number of colors depending on how you define them, and there are many colors which are not visible to the human eye because they are not part of the visible spectrum.
Okay, so there are many that are different nuances of the ones we know, but there are some that we cannot see.
Exactly.
In your graphic about the planes, the 3 lowest subplanes of the physical plane correspond to dense liquid and gas.
Yes.
Does that mean that the temperature rises as you move up the planes?
Actually, when you add energy into a certain system, you raise the vibrational frequency. This is the spiritual and occult reason why liquid transforms into gas when you add more energy to it, or why certain objects liquefy when you add more energy to them. And of course, if this process continues, you go to the plasma plane, and if this process continues even more, you reach the etheric plane, and on and on.
Okay, so if it's linked to temperature, if you would do sauna for example, would it help your evolution?
Well, the energy that you receive from sauna is far from enough to trigger that spiritual change.
Okay, but maybe it can help getting used to it.
Well, if you are so guided, of course you can use it.
Do all objects that exist on the physical plane also exist on all the higher planes?
Yes, there is always an archetype for every physical object, which exists on higher planes.
So that includes food?
Yes.
So for example, if you carry a crystal in the physical, and then you die, can you still be with that crystal on the etheric or astral plane?
Yes, if you wish, if you have that desire, it can be arranged.
Okay, so about the return of the divine feminine, we are more talking about energies and not genders, yes?
We are speaking about energies, but these energies do manifest in a female form in a humanoid body.
Okay, and they are also present in males, yes?
Yes, of course, they are also present in males, and they are also present in other species and other forms of life.
Okay, So males and females are equal in all aspects, yes?
Yes.
Can you talk about how the return of the divine feminine manifests in our daily lives?
It manifests in psychological changes in human beings, and psychologists in the West have discovered that the psychological structures of male and female beings on this planet have been changing drastically in the last few decades. And this is exactly and precisely because of the return of the feminine on this planet, where men are more in contact with their emotions, and women are more able to express their own truth. This is part of the process.
Okay. It feels that we are also getting more receptive to each other, more cooperative, and listening to each other?
Yes. On a global scale.
Sometimes it's difficult to be receptive when there are so many things on this planet that should not be received. Do you have insights on this?
Yes. It is very important not to be receptive to negativity, but to be receptive only to the good things, so to be selectively receptive.
Yes. So is it that there was not enough feminine energy on this planet, or is it that it was always here but it was distorted?
It was distorted. Actually, it is not possible to destroy it. The dark forces were trying to destroy it, but the only thing they could do is to distort it. So it was present, but it was suppressed and distorted.
Okay, so the return is a healing?
The return is an actual fact, an energetic fact. The pure and balanced feminine energy is returning right now through cosmic ley lines, throughout the galaxy, into the solar system, and on the surface of this planet.
Okay, so it's healing all the feminine that was present here all along, but which was distorted.
Yes, exactly.
And so would you agree that to be able to return in a healthy way, it needs to be connected with the masculine as well, that they both need each other?
Yes, actually there is a certain phase when connection between masculine and feminine is required to continue the healing. It is not possible to completely embody healthy feminine without being connected with the masculine, and the other way around as well.
Yes. Is so much rain and cold in some parts of the world natural, or is it manipulated?
Well, one aspect of it is weather modification with scalar technology, and the other part of the equation is a natural response of the planet to the increased activity of the galactic central sun.
Why have the archons been forcing people to incarnate when they have mass depopulation plans?
It is not the agenda of the archons to depopulate the planet, it is the agenda of a certain faction of the Illuminati, because they had an idea that with less people they will have better circumstances for themselves. They would just need a certain number of slaves. They do not need 6 or 7 billion slaves, they only need 500 million, that's their plan. And of course that plan was never intended to be successful because first, light forces would never allow it, and second, the archons would never allow it, because archons need a lot of people on the physical plane to keep their system running. So that plan was just a delusion of a certain Illuminati faction that was never intended, and actually it was never possible to be manifested.
Okay. So was the plans of the archons to turn us into beings like them, or do they need people with connection with the light to feed themselves?
The plan of the archons was to keep people suppressed as slaves. It is impossible for a human being to become like an archon.
Okay, so do the archons need humans to have a connection with the light? Do they need that energy?
They actually need the energy of fear, this is their main food.
Okay. What is the origin of autism?
It is a dissociation of personality because of trauma.
What is the purpose of the CERN Tier 1, 2, and 3 grids?
It is one of the, I would say, projects. It was originally a project of the Chimera Group to create a form of transmission for some of their technologies, to maintain their exotic weapons, like the different exotic bombs they have. Certain parts of this have been cleared already but not completely. But there is a lot of disinformation about CERN, so you need to be careful about what you read on internet about it. Not all of it is true.
Okay, what is the meaning of the double-headed eagle as a symbol for Russia, and also for the Scottish Rite Freemasons?
It is actually an old symbol for certain lineages, certain bloodlines of the Illuminati, and they have various representatives in many European countries, and you can see that the double-headed eagle of Russia is very similar to the Austro-Hungarian double-headed eagle. It belongs to a certain Illuminati family which originated in Asia Minor more than 2,500 years ago.
Okay, that's a negative Illuminati faction?
Yes.
Okay, what are gluons?
Gluons are subatomic particles that actually keep the atomic nuclei together. They keep the quarks in the atomic nucleus together. They are the carriers of strong nuclear force, and the strong nuclear force is responsible for the existence of matter, because without gluons, without the strong nuclear force, all matter would dissipate immediately.
Okay, they have been manipulated by the dark, no?
Not directly, but the interaction between gluons and other subatomic particles have been manipulated, yes.
Is it part of the technology of the Veil?
It is part of certain technologies of the Chimera group, which were part of the security system of the Veil, you might say.
Okay, will tachyons start flooding the planet immediately after the event?
Yes.
Will it be progressively filtered so that the detox is not too intense for humanity?
Yes, it will be regulated by the beings of light, so that it will not be harmful, it will actually be very beneficial.
What really happened during the Philadelphia experiment?
A strong magnetic field was created around the Eldridge, and it was teleported to another location.
Yeah, and then it came back?
Yes.
What was its purpose?
It was actually an experiment by the negative military. They wanted to develop certain weapons and technologies to have an edge to maintain their power. It was part of their secret projects.
Okay, so they really wanted to make it invisible?
Yes.
Okay, and was Tesla really involved in the beginning?
Yes, he was involved. He was not actually understanding what he was involved into, and there was also a lot of pressure and threats upon him by the Bush faction of the cabal.
Did Al Bielek really travel to the 22nd and 29th centuries on an alternative timeline?
No.
Okay, so what kind of experience did he have? He was really there in the Philadelphia experiment, no?
Okay, I would need to explain certain things. There is a lot of disinfo about the Philadelphia experiment and about timelines. The purpose of that experiment was not concerned with timelines. It was actually more about teleportation through space. So a lot of information about this, and about the Montauk project, is not correct.
So even in Montauk there was no timeline experiments?
They were trying to do it, but they were not successful. They were much less successful than what people are saying.
Okay, some people also say that Aleister Crowley was connected with the Philadelphia experiment. Is that true?
Okay, Aleister Crowley was connected with the Chimera group, indirectly. He was connected with the breakaway civilization which was forming and emerging from the negative military, and he was used in some of the projects in a certain way.
To have an occult effect from the experiment they were doing?
Actually, I would say there was a certain negative military cell inside NACA, which was interested in connecting the occult with advanced technology. And Crowley was used, or shall I say manipulated, into promoting their agenda.
Okay, did the Montauk chair come from the Roswell crash?
No.
Where did the Montauk chair come from?
The Montauk chair again was not exactly as it was described. It was more of a, I would say, dimensional doorway. It was not a timeline manipulation machine.
Where did they get it from?
They built it. Actually they reversed engineered it from some extraterrestrial technology, but it was actually their own work.
Okay, what type of extraterrestrial technology?
There were many different races involved in this. There were some UFO crashes which were taken by the negative military and reverse engineered, in, I would say, the mid-40s onwards. The negative military was very much interested in developing those technologies, and Montauk was just a center for the development of some of those technologies, and as I said their main focus was teleportation through space.
Okay, and there was no positive races involved, yes?
They were involved but not directly because they had to be very careful.
How were they involved?
They were trying to steer the whole development in more positive directions. And below Long Island there was a vast network of tunnels and subterranean chambers, with different bases for different civilizations, and some of them were positive. They were trying to direct the whole situation in a more positive way, because the negative military was also developing negative portals with subterranean nuclear explosions. They were actually opening portals with certain negative star systems in this sector of the galaxy. They actually opened a portal in January 1996, and you all know what happened after that.
Yeah, what type of ship crashed in the Roswell crash?
It was a gray ship, and it crashed because of the magnetic anomalies which were part of the veil. The ship was not able to manage those magnetic anomalies and crashed.
Okay, so is it also true that in all these UFO crashes, their propulsion systems use tachyons, and because they are blocked by the veil, they crashed?
No, they crashed because of the anomalies in the magnetic fields and in the space-time continuum around the Earth. The veil was here for the last 25,000 years. Now this veil is very, I would say, It is complete. So we have no UFO crashes because nobody even attempts to land here right now. 50 years ago it was possible to land, but it was risky.
Is it true that the stargates like in the movie Stargates, really exist?
Yes, of course. It doesn't look exactly the same, but the idea is quite accurate. These are the teleportation technologies I was speaking about. You have an entrance, a portal, and the exit portal somewhere else, and you go through a wormhole from point A to point B. This is what they were developing in Montauk.
Okay, so there were many stargates on Earth?
Quite many. Now all stargates in the hands of the cabal have been removed. The resistance movement of course still has many of them, and many of them lead to other star systems.
Okay, so now they are all in the hands of the light forces?
Yes. But I would not answer what is the state of the Chimera group regarding this.
Okay, who are the Wingmakers?
They are representatives of a certain aspect of a central civilization that made contact with the surface of this planet in a certain way, but you need to understand that there is the original source of information of Wingmakers and there are many other sources, and you need to use your own discernment of which source is right and which is not.
Okay, so what was found in the Chaco Canyon cave in New Mexico?
Yes, there was a certain capsule, you might say, which contained codes and information.
From the Wingmakers?
Yes.
Who were the kings David and Solomon of Jerusalem?
Okay, this is part of one of the old lineages. Actually they were trying in their own time to bring light back to the planet.
Okay, so it's a positive lineage?
Actually it was a positive lineage, but it was infiltrated.
Okay, what's the story behind the foundation stone in the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem?
Okay, the foundation stone is actually a very strong symbol that you have also in Freemasonry. It is the center of gravity of manifestation. Because when the manifestation starts, it always starts from a point. That point is the point of divine will. This is the symbolism behind the foundation stone. If you have that point, that foundation stone, and if that foundation stone is strong enough, a very strong building can be built. It means that if you have a perfect purpose, you can manifest everything.
Okay, so that's what the Masons call the cornerstone.
Yes.
Are there more than 3 dimensions of space?
Actually yes, there are many more. We are living in 10 or 11-dimensional space depending on your definition, and the higher dimensions are convoluted, they are hidden in higher planes of existence.
So when you go up the planes, astral, mental, etc., are there more dimensions of space that are open?
Yes.
How about dimensions of time?
Time is defined by evolution, so it has only one dimension. It's a flow, it's a river, a vector. It's not a space. It's a vector of intention, a vector of evolution.
Okay, and so it has different rules when you go up the planes?
Actually the directional flow is the same, but the speed and your perception of that flow can be different.
Okay, about MK Ultra victims, were they able to locate them before birth, or did they pick them out of millions of victims?
Actually most of those were selected by psychological testing in primary school.
Okay, were the Beatles MK Ultra victims?
Yes.
So they were kidnapped and put into mind control camps?
Not exactly. For most of those victims the programming was a little bit more subtle. It's not like kidnapping children and putting them somewhere, it was more subtle and less visible.
So they were still in normal families?
Yes, most of those kids were in normal families, but they had some missing time, you might say.
Okay, so did Yoko Ono help John Lennon to get out?
She tried to, yes.
But she wasn't fully successful?
It is not easy to be successful, especially when the awareness of the situation was not that present many years ago.
Okay, so Yoko and John were part of positive groups, or trying to do positive things, yes?
They were trying to do positive things. Actually many people in the music industry are trying to do positive things, but they are actually limited by their own programming, and by the press-zion they receive from the Illuminati network.
Okay, are all animals present on Earth natives of Earth?
No, many of them were brought to this planet long time ago.
Some people talk about out-of-body experiences outside the Earth atmosphere. It is possible with the veil still in place?
It is possible, but it needs to be a genuine experience, because many people are just having their own wishes, desires, and astral illusions about what's happening, but sometimes yes, it can be a genuine experience.
What is the story behind the giant skeletons that have been found on Earth?
There was actually a race of giants which lived on this planet, and this knowledge has been suppressed.
Until when were they here?
I would say most of them were gone about 12,000 years ago, but there was still a small number of them up until 5,000 years ago.
Okay, were they positive, or mixed, or
Mixed.
why has there been disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle and where did they go?
There is a certain generator field on the floor of the ocean which distorts the magnetic field around it, and those disappearances actually are very similar to what happened to the Eldridge in the Philadelphia experiment.
So they teleport somewhere else on Earth?
Sometimes they teleport to the etheric plane, sometimes they teleport somewhere else on the physical.
How is the situation in the Denver airport now?
Can you be more specific?
Are there still some Cabal bases there?
There is a little bit, very close to the surface in the lower parts of the airport, but not deep underground. Most of this, the big base, has been cleared completely. But there are a few basement spaces which have not yet been cleared yet, but nothing to worry about.
I've been seeing that there's time capsules buried under certain monuments like in Denver airport, other sites here in Vancouver and other cities. What are they?
They are encoded messages because the Illuminati have a long-term plan, and they would like to send time capsules to the future generations of Illuminati.
Okay. What is the origin of entities?
Entities are part of natural evolution, and when this evolution is suppressed, those entities can become quite negative, otherwise they would just follow angelic evolution.
What is the origin of the crystal skulls?
Many of these crystal skulls were used in post-Atlantean periods for divination. Some shamans still use them for that purpose.
Are the current cemeteries part of the Archon system?
Yes, they are actually still used in the etheric and plasma grids, yes. But also light forces use them to anchor light there, so it's a mixed situation.
Okay. Is it okay to burn a dead body?
It is okay after a certain period of time when the etheric body has completed departing from the physical body, so it's very important to wait a few days after the moment of death.
Are you expecting that the energy from the recent false flags in Paris will be transmuted into more positive things?
It is already being transmuted in a certain way. It is bringing more harmony and unification of purpose among people, but of course the Cabal tries to misuse their energy. It is up to people not to be distracted by this. I would suggest everybody to focus on something else. It is just a distraction.
Are tektites tachyonized?
They are, and all meteorites are tachyonized to a certain degree, but not to a full degree because the level of tachyon energy has increased drastically in the galaxy in the last few centuries.
Okay. Are all the Holy Grail stones tektites?
No.
Did the Cathars have the Geril or the Sintamani stone in the Middle Ages?
They had the Geril stone for a certain period of time.
Do the light forces have all the Holy Grail stones now?
Yes.
Are bodies that are higher than the mental plane, are they located on Earth?
Yes.
Was Jesus really crucified?
He went through that process, yes.
Has Magdalene ascended?
Yes.
Were the 12 apostles really all men, or were they half male and half female?
There were 12 male apostles and there were also 12 female apostles, about whom not much has been said.
Okay. And who were Vivian, Merlin, Morgaine, Arthur, and the Round Table?
Actually, in the 5th century there was a certain group of people that belonged to the Order of the Star who incarnated in England, and their purpose was to integrate the goddess mysteries with other creation mysteries to somehow prolong the traditions.
Was the Round Table also composed of half males and half females?
Yes.
Are the 70 Ascended Masters 35 couples of twin souls?
Some of the twin souls are not in that group, because not all of them were incarnated on this planet, and did not go through the same process.
Is Saint Germain's twin soul known?
Yes.
Who is she?
Some people call her Lady Nada, but this is not the most appropriate name, I would say.
Are the Order of the Star spread around the planet or are they only in certain locations?
They are basically spread around the planet, but they tend incarnate on certain vortex points more.
Are they half female and half male as well?
Roughly, yes.
Are they 72,000 pairs of twin souls?
Again, not all the twin souls are incarnated, or even on this planet, or even in this solar system.
Are lenticular clouds spaceships, or actual clouds?
In many cases they are just natural clouds, but sometimes the water particles tend to accumulate around an actual etheric spaceship.
What are black holes?
Black holes are stargates.
So do they exist on the quantum level as well?
They can exist on the quantum level, some of them exist on a macro level as well, but they are not black holes as physicists understand them. I would say they are hyperdimensional stargates. This is how I would describe it.
Okay, so is there one in every star?
Not a black hole per se, but there is a stargate in every star, yes.
How about white holes?
The white hole is the exit point of a black hole, so when you have a stargate you have the entry point and the exit point.
Okay. What are the beings called logos?
These are beings who tend to embody the consciousness of planets and whole solar systems.
Are there dragon beings that are of the light?
Yes, of course, many dragons beings have evolved into the light.
What have their role been on this planet?
To be protectors and guardians.
Okay, so they still exist here on the etheric and astral planes?
Sometimes yes.
Are there still some that are of the dark?
Yes, also on the etheric and astral planes, especially on the etheric, but not many.
Do people on other planets use the 432 Hz tuning for their music?
It depends on their hearing apparatus. Some of them use that frequency, but there are also some other frequencies because certain beings have completely different sets of hearing, range of hearing frequencies, and they need to use other resonant frequencies as well.
Okay. And for us it's the 432 Hz, yes?
Yes, that's a good frequency to use, yes. Not the only one of course, but a good one.
Does everybody on other planets have the ability to travel wherever they want in the universe?
Yes, in the liberated universe you have free will, freedom to travel, except for certain isolated locations. You can go pretty much wherever you want, or wherever is the highest purpose for you to go.